So video too. You're doing a multimodal genre project about something that matters to you, a story about something that happened to you in the past couple of years, um, something you really care about, getting us excited to go do something or something you can use on the job. It's pretty, again, it's pretty wide open. So how do you create these things? And that's what this video is going to be all about. So let me pull back up this thing, okay, with the multimodal stuff. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that you can choose to do and how you can do them. So again, we're talking about something that's a combination of at least a couple of these things. Don't get too crazy. It's the summer. You don't have a lot of time. Do whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to try something new, podcasts are really not that hard, and it introduces you to Audacity, which is a great tool. So let's look at some of this stuff. So podcasts. If you've never heard podcasts before, there's a whole bunch of them that's also on this slideshow, which is on right down here. Okay, so this is on the Unit 3 lectures and due dates. That's what I'm showing you right here. That's what this is. All right, so podcasts can be just about anything. There are different kinds. There's personal essays, people just sort of telling a story. It's like if you write a memoir piece, or you've taken something from your journal and you want to create a recording of it. You can record it on Audacity and put some music underneath it, and that's a podcast, right? It's just an oral, verbal story that you're telling. You can interview somebody. Those are great podcasts. Just doing one-on-one with somebody about an issue that matters to you. An NPR style feature where it's almost like the articles that you just wrote, but as a podcast, right? So you hear these all the time, doing interviews and somebody narrating, and there's a lot of voiceover and several interviews and sound effects and all kinds of stuff. Or you can have a conversation like my 3 students did about issues that are confronting them right now. Those need to be sort of directed. They all need to be prepared. So the conversation ones can tend to go off and ramble like crazy, and you already know from doing interviews from your from the discourse community things, that an interview can also kind of go off the rails unless you're prepared for it. So those are the kinds of podcasts that you can do. I've had students do all 3 kinds. So what do you do to create a podcast? Well, you draft your script or outline. The conversation, all the student who did that one did was have like bullet points of things that he knew he wanted to talk about. But he had the list. He told me when he put it together, when they recorded it, he had the list in front of him, so he could direct people and make sure they didn't get completely off the rails. It ended up being 20 minutes anyway, which is a bit long, but is fairly typical for these kinds of things. The length of a podcast, the personal essays are sometimes no more than 2 to 3 minutes, which is just fine. Interviews, same. NPR-style features tend to be 7 minutes-ish, but, it really depends on the content and how much you want to do with it. So you draft it, you either write the script for it, which with the personal essay, you would just write the thing, and so you'd be reading it or making an outline. Record and edit using Audacity or GarageBand. I'll show you how to do that in just a second, or where to get the information on that in a second. You save it, you download it. Now, if you really are creating podcasts and want to do it, people will upload these things to SoundCloud, but you do not have to do this. Right? This is just a suggestion. Create cover art. There are a lot of podcasts that got like a cover art, a little piece that people can look at while they're listening. Why, I don't know. I guess we can't do one thing at a time. Add music, add sound effects. Again, I'll show you how to do all that stuff. Okay. So these are the kinds of podcasts that you can do. But this is kind of a traditional structure for a podcast. These are the kinds of things you'd hear on NPR, or the New York Times has got a whole bunch of podcasts. Modern Love, This Life. NPR does This American Life. It's got podcasts. It's radio, right? So it has a little teaser. So this is what's coming. We're going to talk about this. A little intro music, a welcome by the host. I actually had a student who created an ad once for this thing, which was really kind of funny. It was brought to you by CityTech and the bad technology. It was pretty funny. But this is traditional. You don't have to do it. then the content, and then a call to action if there is one, and then what we call outro music. Intro music, outro music. So that's a structure, and then a cover art. Now this is one of my favorite podcasts. Believe it or not, I thought I was going to die when my daughter told me I should listen to this, but I got totally hooked on it. It's really fascinating. People will make a podcast cover, which is something you can make on Canva. Okay, so podcasts are fun. They can go off the rails, but they're not that hard to do. And if you're doing a personal essay, they're terrific because you just record your voice, put some music under it, and do all this, and you're done. All right, so the second kind of thing you can do is a photo essay. There are two kinds of photo essays. One's a narrative, a story, like my student talking about gardening and growing blueberries and finding the blueberries gone and then figuring out it was the birds, right? And his father thought it was hilarious. So that's a story, right? It's a narrative photo essay. It tells a story over time. It's laid out in chronological order. Then there's the thematic photo essay, like my student who did the thing with the water, right? It wasn't chronological. It focused on, okay, it was ugly, and so you have to ignore the text. But the photos were terrific, and the photos were laid out in such a way that you could see the dichotomy or the disconnect between the photos of New York and the photos in places where there are water issues, right? So that's a thematic photo essay, and some of the most interesting and impactful photo essays are often those. The narrative ones are often kind of fun. The thematic ones are often very serious and sort of call to action kind of things. All photo essays have several things in common, and this one is the most important thing. They can stand alone. They do not need any text for them to make sense. Like my student talking about her life, her COVID life, right? And we end up, there's a picture of her family, and there's a picture of her on the first day on the job, getting her COVID vaccine, and then her little button says, I did it. And at the end, she put a thing on the bottom, I did it. Right? So it's just, it can make sense without any text at all, right? It's got a range of photo types, just like hers did, like my student with the water one did. Close-up, wide angle, just a different kinds of photos. There's a logical order to how they're laid out. Not just, the narrative ones are easy because they're chronological. The thematic ones, it's you put the pictures together and see if they're telling the story on their own. Right? They have a range of both informational and emotional content, often. And they have captions on occasion, particularly if you want to give information or a context to it. Right? So those are the kinds of things. And this is one way to structure a photo essay. Photo essays need at least these many photos in them to be a real photo essay. And this is one way to structure it. You don't have to do it exactly like this, but this is this is sort of classic way to do it. It's kind of like the classic podcast structure, classic photo essay structure. The lead photo sets the scene, portraits, a specific detail, a close-up like a detail, a signature photo, which is sort of a summary photo, and then a final photo that's got the emotion you want people to take away. Right, photo essays. Video essays, nobody knows what a video essay really is. They're all over YouTube. There's a lot of different kinds. There's ones that are voiceover. There are ones that have, whether the images are moving or still, somebody's sort of narrating it. Then there are the ones that just have the images and then text laid over the top of them. And then there are the ones that have got everything combined with voice, and text, and other audio, and sound effects, and all kinds of stuff. Okay? So nobody really knows what they are, but they're all, look at YouTube, they're there. TED Talks, there are a lot of them. How you create a video essay, you have to really, it's like anything else, you have to have your main focus. What type you want to create, whether it's voiceover, text, or images, supercut. Write a draft, storyboard it. This is storyboarding, drawing little pictures so you know what order you want things to be in. Collect all the things you want to put in it, and then edit it using iMovie or VideoPad or OpenShot or some of those tools. Now here's some examples. Here are some wildly creative Instagram stories. These are photo essays. Right, some of these are really pretty interesting. What happens next? Right, this is telling a story, how to convert a space. Not very exciting, but it is a story. Right. Here's some other ones. So there's lots of different kinds of these. Instagram, kind of can create them. So you can think about Instagram as a type, as a way to do this. This always goes back. These are some really interesting and important photo essays. This one is very disturbing. Right, but these are different kinds of photo essays. There's different collections. Okay, so it shows you different kinds of these things too. Shout out Creative Cloud. Always goes back to the top. Okay, podcasts. Livewire's got some really funny ones. This one was especially compiled for students, so you can kind of go look at what's out there. Starting a new chapter, being fiscally responsible. The Dave Ramsey Show, the financial guru. All kinds of good stuff on that one. And back to the bottom. Here we go. All right. This is a fun list from boardteachers.com, which I would recommend you go browse through and see. There's some funny stuff in here. And then these are video essays to get you hooked on video essays. Because video essays are not just YouTubes or TED Talks, but this kind of, talks about different kinds of video essays that are out there. Right? YouTubers use these video essays all the time. So that's another set of links to go look at for some examples of video essays. Okay. Now YouTube has got a lot of stuff about how to create video essays, more about how to edit them. Audacity is the audio editing tool that everyone uses. It's really very simple. I'm not going to go into it because I don't really have the time, but go look at it, and you'll see when you pull up this, it's pretty simple. Just go look at the video on YouTube, and you'll see this is a sound thing, and then you can add other files and add sound effects, and it's pretty cool looking, right? Very simple tool to use. My students absolutely fell in love with it, because you can create an audio file that you can then add to a video file. Very, very simple. This is GarageBand, Shotcut, iMovie. This is royalty-free music. You need to use royalty-free stuff. So if, for example, you want to listen to a ukulele, why in the world you would, I don't know, but you can download that and add it to your video essays. Or your audio, your podcast. Lots of different kinds of music on here. Ben Sound has got a lot of great stuff. The other sound one is Sound Effects. This one, Free Sound. This just sounds. Like, what's the sound? They usually have a sound of the day. The sound of today is this. Play. Sound of drones. Ever wanted the sound of drones? Now you know. Oh my God, why am I doing this? It's got lots of different kinds of sounds. Spaceships, lots of sounds. So sound effects are great. Free Sound is a great sound effects link. Okay. Movely is a free animation video creator. There are other animation creators like, let me show you Palin's, if I can find it here. Okay, this was made with another one called Animaker. Let me just play a little bit of it.
Some of you might be watching and listening to this because it's part of class, or you have an interest on what I did at home over this past year and a half. So without wasting any more time, let me take you through some of it. Once upon a time, us New York City people were able to roam everywhere throughout our great city. We would go shopping, run errands, and whatnot. I was a very active person. I was almost always outside, hanging out with my friends, and eating outside at least 2 times a week with them.
Now he used a voice generator because he had some surgery, and so he couldn't speak. But this is a really fun thing. He made it with Animaker, and I think it was free. So, that's another fun thing to do. which is not on here, but should be. So this is how you create these things. If you've got something specific, oops, I disappeared. If you've got something specific that you want to work on and you're not quite sure about, well, I'm interested in doing a podcast, but how do I do this stuff with the audio? Either go over here or let me know.
This is Lisa.
Anyway,
She just recorded her.
Be quiet, and I'll show you a little bit from Audacity. This guy's annoying,
how to use
but it's
Audacity,
a really good,
a free
it's a
software.
really good tutorial.
I'll show you exactly how to use it right now. Hey,
It'll
as
tell you
long as
exactly
when you
what to
play it
do.
back, you're hearing it equally on both the left and right hand side. That's what matters.
I'm not going to get into it because it just
and
takes too
typically you
long.
won't
But
have to
trust
ever worry
me,
about
it's a really good tutorial. Again, there are a lot of good tutorials on here for you if you want to do audio. If you've got issues or you've got things you want to ask me about, this is Canva. This student, instead of doing PowerPoint, which I freaking hate PowerPoints, she created a little presentation on Canva. And let me see if I can get. I don't want to do that. I don't want it to play. See if I can get it to play. This is what she did. Ow, stop. My cat's after me. So she did this video. She did this photo essay and put it as a video. And yes, she added sound, which you can do on Canva. Canva is pretty much my favorite thing to do, so to use. My student who did the thing about the spending used Canva. This young woman used Canva to create these, because you have all these free images, or you can upload your own and just drag them over onto this page, whatever you choose. So this one's a lot of fun as well. All right, so Canva is a great tool, and I can't recommend it enough. But that's how you do this. So I'm going to come back over here, and just to say that if you've got an idea about what you want to do, but you're not really sure, text me on Slack, and we can do one-on-one, or we can go back and forth on Slack. Whoops, I disappeared again. Go back and forth on Slack and kind of get you set up. Here's the schedule. Just an idea on Padlet again, so I can take a look at it and see if I've got some suggestions, or we can help each other. Uploading these things can be a bit of a chore sometimes, so if you can't get it on the Google Drive, you can always create a Google Doc, and put the link to whatever it is you made there. All right, play with it. I'll put some more of these examples here, and they're not here yet, but they will be. So here's the slideshow I just went through. It's got all those links to all those tools, and this is an even better one. Not that one. It's another place. It's this thing, and this has really got all the links that I use, that students have used. Audacity, then sound, free sound. There's more free music. Now you're going to be using copyright safe images, so when you get out to Google, you under Tools, look for usage rights and use Creative Commons. Right? If you're interested in podcasts, this is a wonderful wonderful article about how to make them. And it's got some great links to things that students did, examples of podcasts that students did, high school students. So if you're interested in podcasts, go over here first. And then SoundCloud, only if you want to create a podcast and keep going. Canva, Animaker, which is what my student Palin used. Movely, which is another one. Okay, and then video, VideoPad, iMovie, Screencast-O-Matic, which is what all instructors in the world use. So this is right here. So again, this little video lecture is getting long, so I'm going to stop. If you got questions, text me, email me, get in touch with me, and we'll go over this. And I will put some of these examples here on this page. Have a good time.